Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. A slow burner of a weekend, but it absolutely came alive tonight with some phenomenal series, really enjoyable to watch and massively important at that in terms of World Championship qualification, seeding for the major. OpTic Texas making very clear they are again the team to beat going into it, and Vegas, man, what a run these guys are putting on. Very much enjoyed to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always. Let's dive straight into things. Gotta say, the Monster Energy pre-game, it's better than whatever the pre-game things they used to do before, which I remember a few years ago, they would just give no keys to victory or whatever, right? There was just absolutely nothing going on. Thankfully nowadays they do actually provide some stats and everything rather than just X player needs to fry, which is what it used to be. It's kind of still what it is, but it's still kind of nice to see. And this is what they said about Vegas. Their search and destroy wasn't good this stage and needed to return to form there. We'll definitely get into that. Standy, when he joined, was super impressive for this team, but ever since then hasn't been quite so on fire. So did need to turn up the series and he had his moment when it mattered as well. Also an interesting story with GoDrects getting dropped from his Rokkr Academy team, which is a bit of a surprise to me because he's been a mainstay of that for some time, but that means he's going into Toronto and champs of free agents. Hopefully everything works out for him. But speaking of the main Rokkr team, they come up against a very decent Vegas Legion team. Now yes, Vegas lost the other day to FaZe. They lost to OpTic in tragic Game 5 Round 11 fashion, and honestly, I mean we'll talk about it in a second here, but if not for an OpTic series that Rokkr played earlier this year, it would be all tied up. But game one, a great map, honestly, back and forth. Vegas get the job done. I know the viewership was kind of popping off for this one as well a little bit because, okay, it was first match of the day, but it's such an important one, right? These two teams are the teams most likely to be competing for that final World Championship qualification spot. Rokkr have had it for some time. Vegas have had many chances to get there, if not for that top 12 placement at Major 4, that 5-2 choke in Game 5 Fortress against Florida. They'd already be tied and level on points with Rokkr right now, but Rokkr have lost their last 9 online qualifier matches in a row. That's 90 points they've had up for grabs, obviously, over the last 9 qualifier games, and they've taken 0 of those points. They did well at the previous couple of majors to kind of get in a decent position. They came top 3 way back at Major 2, which definitely put them in a good spot, but Vegas have been trying their best to catch up. They lose the search and destroy, though Rokkr tied this up at 1-1, and then they win the control, and you're thinking, alright, all of a sudden here, and Clay had this assassination going on, which was, obviously he didn't mean to do this, right, but he made it work. And I think Clay even said after the fact that he lost full when this happened because, I mean, look, he accidentally, like, assassinates this guy. It was hilarious stuff, but obviously not ideal if you're trying to get a 2-piece, right? So, anyway, Rokkr win this game at 3 control, and you're thinking, wow, here we go again. Vegas with the control defeats. They looked pretty good on this map against FaZe the other day, right? This aLLeY, but, yeah, Rokkr get the job done. They've done that before. Good team on this map, right? Rokkr, they have some history on aLLeY control that we'll get into in a second. So, Vegas go down 2-1, and look, Vegas aren't going to win every control. It's not a good game mode for them, but if they can just, you know, do 45-50%, they'll be in a fine spot because they're good at the other modes, and that's when we've got to see some step up from the rest of the team. Standy made a phenomenal play here to keep them alive. Standy's been quiet, honestly, for the last few weeks, to be honest. They go 3 dead here. Standy gets in the hill. 1-2, gets the third as well. I think he gets some support on the third. Yeah, 3 and 4. It's actually insane play. TJ gets the final kill, but I mean, that was just ridiculous from Standy getting in there, getting the 3 kills, and securing them the map 5. Great hardpoint gameplay from Vegas, it's got to be said. And when backs are against the wall, especially in these online qualifiers, they really do seem to turn up. Rokkr are still pretty dysfunctional though. Afro has been, he was great at the start of this year, Afro, but lately, you know, it hasn't really been working, and I'm not massively surprised. Like, the Bance SMG duo with Afro, I never really felt like it was going to work. I'm still unclear why Fame is really on that AR. I know that he kind of wants to do it, but it just doesn't seem to suit their playstyles the best. And as I say, 9 qualifier matches lost in a row online, right? They've won their ones on LAN, right? Because they obviously played it in front of some of the home crowds and everything that came along with that as such. And then Game 5, that's usually been Rokkr's great strength. But according to Fame, they kind of lost full after that breakdown they had that we just witnessed. So Vegas come into map 5, and this is where you needed Clay and Temp to turn up. I always find it funny when Clay snipes. I know he mentioned on Twitter afterwards that he only ever does it when his teammates tell him to, because, you know, there's been many years with Clay pulling out the sniper and he uses it for too long, and people are like, oh, why has Clay still got the sniper out? He must think he's godlike with it or something. But he was doing some nice shots here, in fairness. And look, it's Clay, TJ, and it's Temp especially, players that really needed to deliver in such a crucial map for them, and they turn up big time. Clay and Temp combined for like 25 in 8 or something in this final map. It was a great performance from them, and they get the job done. And I'll put this full screen here because Temp was absolutely loving life after this one. And I mean, yeah, just great reaction. I mean, look at this from Temp. It's absolutely hilarious. Great stuff from Vegas, though. And I mean, I was hoping they won this series, right? Because it makes things way more interesting going into these final couple of weeks. It's all going to come down to the major, baby. They're now within 10 points. Could have been 30 points the gap today, with Rokkr still having 2 qualifier games to go. So Vegas needed to win this one. And there's a debate, whoever makes it, who is going to deserve it, right? Because right now, Vegas are the better team. They're playing better Call of Duty. They're better orchestrated. You know, they're better in most of the game modes. And, of course, they got the job done. They got the ice when it matters here against Rokkr. Rokkr have done most of the damage over the course of the season. It's far from guaranteed who's going to make it at this point. And I would say that if Rokkr make it, they'll deserve it. But if they make it by 10 points, you've got to look back at the match they played with OpTic right at the start of the season. That aBeZy controlled drama, the forfeit that OpTic gave, the 10 free points the Rokkr got. And look, the current gap is 10 points. If that never happens, we're probably looking at it all tied up at the moment with Vegas. But still, if they play as they are, I think they will get the better of Rokkr at the major, and that should secure them champs. It's going to be tight, though, and it's really entertaining to see how this is going to go. And yeah, actually, Ronnie pointed out here, if OpTic didn't forfeit and played it out, Rokkr and Vegas would be level right now. But, I mean, man, wild stuff. And I thought it was great, because it's Mother's Day right today in the US and many other countries. So happy Mother's Day to you all. And as Temp says here, like, I'm going to give my mum the bounty cash. So yeah, bounty game as well. And we'll get on in a second to the bounty demon that is Dan Ghosty that always seems to fry in these series. But, yeah, awesome stuff for all involved, to be honest. Rokkr have struggled, though. That leaves them on 160. Legion are now 150. They play Surge, which is not easy, but winnable, I think, for Legion. Whereas Rokkr play Thieves, which, if Thieves turn up as they should beat Rokkr. And I don't see Rokkr beating Toronto right now. So, you know, okay, they've got 2 more chances. But if Rokkr lose both those games, they'll be starting pretty slow, going into the major, starting in losers for sure. If Legion win or make it close with Surge, because they've had so many game 5s, Legion could well make winners here again, and if they do, it puts them in such a positive position. So I don't know who's the favourite right now. Rokkr, technically, they've still got 2 games to go and a 10-point gap. So I guess Rokkr, the ball is still slightly in their court. They should still have the edge. But I think a lot of people would say that Legion feel more likely at the moment. Definitely intrigued to your thoughts on that in the comment section. I will say as well that Attach says, no streams for a few days. See you guys soon. Right after they lose. And I know that Attach did say when he initially got benched that, like, they might want to bring me back if they're struggling. And I mean, look, they're losing everything right now. Would you be surprised if Rokkr said, you know what, Attach, come back into the team and try and save us here? Because I don't think dropping him, especially the roles they currently have, really made that much sense, to be honest. So, I mean, yeah, as Brian Stat says, 9 online matches in a row that they've lost now, and LA Thieves and Toronto are their final 2. Could well be another couple of losses. These are the numbers, though. Great series from Clay in the game 5, but up until that point, it was really the Donny Temp show. 1.5 in this series. Standy had that phenomenal map 4 as well, and that got them over the line. Let's dive into the second series then. This was, I mean, the first series was really entertaining to watch, one of the series of the year. This was another one because this was a tale of 2 teams playing at incredible pace and at a very high level of Call of Duty. Yes, we saw, you know, maybe Hicksy and Insight especially didn't have a great series here, but man, watching these 2 teams play is so much fun. Like, I do feel like these are the 2 best teams in the game right now. The way they're currently playing, FaZe are definitely going to be there. They're always there. Thieves on LAN should be better, but they might start in losers. And right now, the way Toronto have rebounded lately and the way Scrappy's playing, I think we might have watched the top two teams in the game right now duke it out tonight, and it was really entertaining. And honestly, OpTic, again, I've mentioned it before, echoes of the Dynasty in some way, how they maybe tie the first rotation or they're down on the first rotation, and then they absolutely take over on the final few half points. They really heat up, and they've done it again here against Toronto. Great final set of hills. There was nothing Toronto could do with the comeback that OpTic were making, and they take the game 1. The Search and Destroy also went their way. There was this moment as well where Insight got absolutely spun on here by Shotzzy, goes top building on Embassy, gets 1, and then he just kind of, well, turns around and destroys Insight on the flag. I mean, yeah, should not be losing that one, and they close this out 6-4. So OpTic up 2-0 at this point. They go into a control, and Toronto are probably the best team in the game if it wants to load on this map mode combination. Hotel control. OpTic will probably feel like they could have won it. They're up 2-1. Eventually, it goes round 5 in Toronto's favour. I was hoping at least we got to see a game 4, but it was another game 4 where OpTic get to extend their remarkable hardpoint records, and this was how it started off here. So Hicksy tries to make a flank on Dashy. CleanX CleanX kills him. Dashy is still surely weak here, right? Hicksy misses a couple of bullets and then gets completely pieced up by Dashy. And, I mean, yeah, I'm sure at that point he probably knew this might be done and dusted, but it was super competitive again. Ghosty, though, what a player, right? This guy has been. The debate is always going to be there up until champs, the whole pred situation, what's going to happen, who's he going to go to and all this. But Ghosty, day by day, is making it very clear this guy isn't going anywhere, right? He's been super impactful for this team. I know that Scrappy, especially the way he played this game 4, has probably got the Rookie of the Year race sewn up. If Ghosty wins Major 5 and or champs, there's a debate to be had because he has been incredibly valuable to the team, but Scrappy is absolutely ridiculous, right? And is obviously an MVP candidate, whereas Ghosty isn't really at that level yet. 2 minutes 54 in the hill here from the Hill Kitten. I don't know where the term Hill Kitten originated because I had a friend that I used to play Call of Duty with. We're talking 4 or 5 years ago. He used to say Hill Kitten. So I don't know. I don't imagine he came up with it. Some of us have also been saying it back in the day, but it's kind of re-emerged lately. I believe I mentioned it in a video a while ago, and then Simp talked about it on Twitter, and now I know that you're talking about the watch party, right? The kitten. So I like it, but Hill Kitten is a great term personally. So I'm glad it's back in regular use in the rotation. And yeah, here's Ghosty and co getting the job done. And look, this guy in a bounty gate is always absolutely cracked, right? We saw what he did against Thieves before, and this is another 10,000 on the line. So Toronto, I thought it was an impressive performance. They weren't bad at all here, but OpTic are different level, especially in the clutch moments. And it came down to the wire. This wasn't an easy series. OpTic will like it because it was definitely a challenge for them. Ghosty's record since joining the league, 20-6. He's now beaten every other team in the league as well, which is pretty remarkable, right? That he's in the league for 3 months and he's taken every other 11 teams scalped so far. They're not 5-0 yet, OpTic, but they're getting close. The last time OpTic lost a qualifier was March the 5th. Yes, I'll say that again. March the 5th in the Major 3 qualifiers. They obviously won everything from then onwards. They did great at the Major 3, made the finals there, have not lost a qualifier since then. 5-0 in Major 4 qualifiers, 4-0 so far in the Major 5 qualifiers. They might end up 5-0. It's remarkable to see an OpTic team this consistent. OpTic had never, their teams historically have never been this consistent for this long. Maybe it's in part because they didn't win, therefore they're keeping their foot on the gas. But I mean, yeah, again, they're going to go in here as the team to beat. And Toronto, I think, is a team that can beat them come LAN. I'd be really intrigued to see this matchup, and we saw definitely a taster of it today. But yeah, Shotzzy, he had his moment in this series, 93 kills. And they're absolutely firing on all cylinders right now. Scrappy had a great showing on the other side of things, but it just wasn't enough for Toronto, but they will still come strong in the Major, starting in the winners bracket more than likely. And quickly then, the final series here of the day, Boston versus Surge. Again, as I said earlier today, 180 points for both of these teams. Far from guaranteed right now that either of these teams make champs. A victory here pretty much secure that, but Surge so far hadn't won a map here, but Boston reach online, EQ, Warriors, whatever you want to say. Game 1, it was pretty comfortable actually for Seattle. Surge, a bit of a comeback towards the middle part of this game, but Surge seemed to just about have it covered. I'm sure they were somewhat concerned about their comeback. But speaking of comebacks though, it was game 2 where really this series got away from Boston, because I thought the Boston, okay, the first 2 maps they would split it, it would go game 5, who knows what happens. And this was the chance, I thought, for Boston to go game 5. Beans had a great 1v2. Beans was playing really damn well this series. But again, the entire team delivering at the same time, is it really there, especially in the respawns? And yeah, Boston, when they dropped Zinni, we wondered, would their ice go up or go down? We thought it would probably go up, and in fairness, initially it did, at least in terms of game 5s, but they go 5-2 up in this search and destroy game and got comebacked on 6-5. Like, that is tragic stuff. Great from Surge, in fairness, to make it happen, but still, they'll be salty about that one. Game 3, they didn't seem to show too much frustration though, because Beans had a mega takeover moment here. He went like a 9 spree towards the end of this control round, was killing absolutely everything. Spawn killed them a couple of times, then got in the control point. I got a few more kills, secured a streak as well that got them the round winning game 4, round 4 here. So really impressive stuff from Beans, great individual takeover moment, and Boston take it, well, at least being competitive. But then it was a Fortress hardpoint, and the bounty match goes the way of Surge. Nice little graphic they had here prepared. And look at the scoreboard, and like, if I blurred out the names on this scoreboard and told you guys to just predict what game it was coming recovering. For a team that's lost 3-1, you'd probably say that this is the Boston Breach, right? I don't think this was Beans just playing for kills. Okay, look, he doesn't have that much more damage than the rest of his teammates that had way more kills, but Beans was obviously being impactful there. But still, Vivid, they made this controversial change, Vivid for Nero, and, you know, it's interesting, right? It seems to have worked in parts, but they play Surge it and they fall short. Vivid has a bit of a tough time. Interesting. Boston still aren't particularly good, and they're now stuck on 180 points. Both of these teams have a decent chance still to make winners. I think they'll both make the World Championship, but neither has been particularly impressive lately. But this time, it's Surge that come out on top. Very much enjoyed to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.